The Carolina Panthers go into week number 16 tied for first place in the NFC South, after failing to take over sole ownership of the NFC South after its failed attempt in New Orleans. This week they come in against their arch nemesis in the division for sole ownership of that same division lead. But with this team getting healthy and Panther reinforcements not on the way just yet, can the boys from Charlotte regroup and avoid a 2-game losing skid for the first time since early on in this season? These stories and more coming up on this edition of Growlin' and Prowlin'. Welcome back, Growlers. Thank you all for joining us here on another edition of Growlin' and Prowlin'. Of course, you're growling with me, the one and only Mr. CeeLo, once again. And Growlers, I must tell you, the disappointment took me a while to get over. As you guys know, I finally did the critique of the Saints game. It was hurtful. Because, guys, I know this team has been up and down. But when we've seen them, they've been good, they've been aggressive, and they've been unpredictable. And a lot of that starts with coaching. And I don't think I can stress this anymore. And I hate putting anything on coaches, and I think Canellis just does a great job of diverting attention, not just from himself, but from his players. He always blames it on execution. He says, I've got to be better, we've got to be better. At some point, that's got to stop. And I'm not saying you blame anybody, but unfortunately, you got to start taking prime ownership of how you call the plays. Because on first drives, I really get sick and tired of seeing this team look like a juggernaut, and then all of a sudden, you have to wait until there's some serious issues within the team before you actually make a concerted effort to start getting aggressive again. I mean, and that makes no sense to me. You should be able to maintain that sense of urgency every single down or every single drive. It's incomprehensible how that happens, and it's not working in our favor. And I know a lot of you are saying, what are you griping about? I'm griping because you're not allowing Bryce to be his best. You're not allowing Teteroy McMillan to be his best. You're not allowing Jalen Coker, XL, Mitchell Evans, Tommy Tremble, Jatavian Sanders, Chuba Hubbard, Rico Dowdle, even Jimmy Horn. These guys are not able to be at their best. Even Bryson Tremaine. Look, these guys can make plays. Look, I'm not saying you go out there and throw it all over the yard, but there are certain times you cannot sit here and be afraid to throw the damn ball down the field. I get it. You got some issues on the line. Protection can be an issue. But in this game against the Buccaneers, that can't be an issue. As I said, you've got to find a weakness on the Buccaneers, and you have to exploit it. Because you can bet your bottom dollar they're going to put Mike Evans in the slot. And until Coach Avero gets out of his stubbornness and says, hey, we're going to let J.C. Horn chase Mike Evans all over the field. Sean Smith-Wade, as gaudy and as bulldogish as he is no match for Mike Evans. And it's not that he's not good enough. He's just not dogging. Look, 6'5" versus what, 6 foot? 5'11"? That's like me playing my son. He might win a few, but it ain't gonna be many. Sorry. But before we get started on my critique of Tampa Bay, let us hear a word from Lumavita. And I think every good man should have. You guys need to go by and check out this product. He builds it, fixes it, lifts it, breaks it, then builds it again. The world calls him a man. We call him an effing man. TF Man, the lotion made for hands that earned it. Crafted from grass-fed tallow, squalene, and grit. No flowers, no fluff, just results. TF Man by LV. You guys know what kind of man a TF Man is? He's the man that gets it done. Just like me. Just like you. The one who doesn't need a filter. Like Mr. CeeLo. The one who doesn't need a hashtag or permission. He's not just a man. He's the effing man. And now he's got the lotion to match. What? TF Man, the whipped tallow cream from LV. Made from grass-fed beef tallow, squalene, and true grit. No chemicals, no perfume, just hand-earned hydration. For hands that build, lift, and live. Make sure you guys go online and check this out. Guys, I'm going to put the QR code up there on the screen. And if you guys put in the code FRIENDS20, you get 20% off your first order. Make sure you go over to their website. And guys, let me tell you, as a man that loves to look awesome and smell fabulous, this is perfect. I have been using it a couple of weeks, you guys, and I'm going to tell you, every time I get out the shower, I got to put it on my face and I got to put it on my hands. Because when you start getting to be my age, you got to start protecting all this, you guys, because guess what? The ladies not only like for you to look fabulous, they also want you to smell terrific. Because you don't want to just be the man. You want to be the effing man. I mean, that's a fool's game you playing. And this is just from the defensive standpoint. Look, you got to sell out against Baker. Baker will make mistakes. And then not to mention, guys like Derek Brown, A'Shawn Robinson, they're going to have to get their hands up on defense. And I don't have to mention Derek Brown. Derek Brown's going to do what he has to do. I love the way he's playing, especially Bobby Brown. A lot of people, I was listening to somebody say Bobby Brown wasn't worth the dough that we paid him. I can't remember who it was, but when I found out, I will let you guys know. Bobby Brown has been exceptionally good. And I'm going to be honest with you. When they said Turk Wharton wasn't playing, okay. I thought this defense was much better defensively, stopping the run when Bobby Brown was in there as opposed to Turk Wharton. I'm not a fan of Turk Wharton unless you're going to bring him in on passing downs. I said this on my show many times. Turk Wharton needs to be the guy that's in there on passing downs, not running downs. It's like Princely. Princely does not need to be out there setting edges. He's not ready for that yet. And there's no disrespect or shot at him. He should not be out there. That's just what it is. It's not about he's a scrub. He's just not that dude. As I said, we have got to be able to get some form of pressure, whether that's sending, Damani Richardson, Lathan Ransom, or Trayvon Merrick. This is going to have to be one of those games where the Carolina Panthers are going to have to be able to get to and rattle Baker Mayfield. Get those hands up. Them short passes, he cannot throw those. We're going to have to, look, DJ Wanham, if you can't get there, get those hands up. Robinson's done a good job getting his hands up. Derek Brown's done a good job getting his hands up. But it's going to have to go from Turk Wharton to Bobby Brown. Hands are going to have to be up. But this is going to be a tough one because right now, as it stands, we've got two guys on defense. Turk Wharton's questionable, which, as I said, not a big deal in my opinion. Turk Wharton, I mean, he hasn't been very, I guess, effective this year or efficient. Trevin Wallace is questionable. Was was a limited participant in practice. As I said, we had some really good moments out of Chris Barnes and Claude Sherrillis, who's back. Yeah, I will honestly tell you, if we can get maybe Sherrillis and Chris Barnes out there in Trevin Wallace's place, rotating him out. Chris Barnes played excellent the week both these guys were out, so I'm not worried there. I think ultimately, we just got to get some pass rush. And Travis Gibson looked exceptionally good in the game last week against the Saints. I'm actually pleased that he's playing this week and getting an opportunity. As I said, he ended up with a sack in that game. So, we got to hope that a guy like him is going to come out there and he's really going to put his mark on things. Not just Gibson, but, Scorton is really starting to, assert himself, not only as a run stopper, but he had that half sack in that game. But then you also got to look when you get guys like Bobby Brown, Ashawn Robinson, and Derek Brown who are coming out there and they're really laying down the wood. But that goes with Evero. He's going to have to get more dynamic and exotic with his blitz packages. Look, you can't just keep relying on guys to beat guys. That can't happen. Like I said, Robinson had 5 sacks last season, as I said. And then you've got Derek Brown, who is going to be the attention of everybody all season. He's got 4 sacks on the year. You can't have defensive tackles gaining more sacks than your edge guys. But that is also a reflection that your guys are actually getting back there. Because if you got guys that are getting to the court, that means they're pushing here. All you need is guys to collapse the outside. You're not far, but the thing is, Evero's going to have to put more efficient, bring more bodies. He's going to have to bring more bodies. And I think you ultimately are going to have to be what makes Minnesota's pass rush and Denver's pass rush so different is that Vance Joseph and those guys, they bring multiple guys, but the difference is you don't know where they're coming from. I'd like to see some more J.C. Horn blitzing, just unfortunately not in this game. I think ultimately it needs to be a situation where either he's locked up on, you can't really pick anybody because, of course, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have who? Mike Evans. Who? Emeka Egbuka. Who? Chris Godwin. So you got a triple threat this week. You're going to have to cover all segments of the field. But given the fact that they've had trouble getting it together because the offensive line has had problems, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a lot of problems that we have. And the problems that we have are that we are not able to figure out where we want to go with the football. Now, we don't have superstars. Don't get me wrong. There's going to be a lot of y'all that's going to say, we don't have a Chris Godwin or Emeka Egbuka or Mike Evans. Well, actually, we do have a Mike Evans, and actually, we do have an Emeka Egbuka, and actually, we do have you've got Jalen Coker, and you've got Xavier Legette. Now, a lot of y'all going to say, wait, what? Dave Canellis is not doing a good job of calling XL open. I'm sorry. Y'all can sit here and call it what you want. XL has shown you what he can do when he's given the opportunity. And that's just like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers found out about Kyle Pitts. They can be had, y'all. If you just watch that Atlanta Falcons game in the week, look, Kyle Pitts has been a bust according to so many people. But guess what? If Kyle Pitts can break out like he did, that means Dave Canellis needs to figure it out. And many of y'all need to give a lot of gratitude to guys like XL and Jalen Coker because guess what? They have not been utilized properly. I've been saying this on my other show. Kyle Pitts has been mismanaged for 5 years. You don't just come out there and ball out like he did. Period. Now, I want anybody in the comments to get in there and tell me that I'm lying on that one. Because reality of it is, Kyle Pitts has always been a dangerous player. The problem is, when you get dogmatic knuckleheads that run an organization and they're trying to save money, that's generally what happens, people. You get a cheapo that wants to sit here and be like, I don't want to pay him like a wide receiver, I'm paying him like a tight end. What he said. On the offensive side, 3 question mark designations between Ike Ekwonu, Damian Lewis, and Taylor Moton. This is massive because Those are three of your most consistent linemen. Other than Taylor Moton missing one game, Damian Lewis missing one, and Ike Ekwonu missing, I think, the first 1 or 2 of the season. These guys have been the cornerstone of your offensive line. Now, Cade Mays has no injury designation, but the reality of it is, if these three guys don't play, there ain't going to be much hope that we're going to win this game. I'm pretty sure they're going to play through it. Ekwonu is the question mark. I think Neiman has played pretty well, but you're asking him to play left tackle. Yeah, and then you got to look at the fact that who they're going up against, y'all. This Tampa Bay Buccaneers team has been having some rumbling, so I think that's a big issue too. I think they had something to do with maybe Vita Vea. Don't quote me on that. I've been trying to get some information on that, have not been able to find it, but there has been some calls that there's been internal issues within the actual organization and questioning certain players and whether or not they're giving their best or, just things of that nature. But as I said, the offense has just been going at it and getting back. I think a lot of people have said getting them healthy, but the disrespect that comes with the Carolina Panthers is that everybody said that there's nobody been more hurt than the Buccaneers. Stop it. The Panthers have not had a healthy offensive line all year. All year. The reality of it is, guys, is when this team had been healthy up front, you go all the way back to last year when they finally got it figured out. And I can understand why Canellis would feel a certain way with no Robert Hunt. Robert Hunt is the best guard in football. Well, yeah, I'm being a little biased, but you got Quentin Nelson and a couple of other guys, but realistically, he is what makes this offense go. And honestly, I hear you when I hear all y'all want to go to the playoffs. I would love to go to the playoffs, but ultimately, guys, depending on who we draw and seeing what happened with the Seahawks and the Rams, neither one of these draws is the perfect draw for us. But that would be who we would be playing in the first round, hosting in the first round. And the Rams were like nothing more than to show that this was a damn fluke. I don't know if we couldn't oblige. It's all going to be predicated on whether or not Devontae Adams comes back. And realistically, the Rams can be run on. And I think we could run on them if we got Robert Hunt back. But here's the thing. Looking at this Tampa Bay team, you look at what the Falcons were able to do in this game. Bijan Robinson had some get. Kyle Pitts had some get. You have to, as an offensive coordinator, look at what the defense is giving you, what they offensively struggle with, what is their weakness. Kyle Pitts had a field day. We got Jatavian Sanders. We got Mitchell Evans. We got Tommy Tremble. We got Chuba Hubbard. We got Rico Dowdle. So what is the issue? When you see a team is struggling in a certain area, that's where you attack. As much as I love Tetairoa McMillan, put him in the slot some. What has happened to that? It's like you just refuse to go that route. Look, Bryce has proven you wrong on so many occasions. And not in a good way. You keep trying to protect Bryce. Look, he doesn't need to be protected. If those deep balls he's throwing you haven't shown you anything, what will? He missed that one that Tetairoa dropped. He should have dimed it deeper. Yes, he should have. But you got to give the Saints defender a lot of credit for not giving up. It happens. But ultimately, looking at this game, guys, I got to tell you, I think this is a very winnable game. I don't think those penalties that we had in the last game are going to be a problem. I just think that was one of those one-offs. Keys to this game are going to be we got to establish the running game. Whether it's Rico Dowdle, Chuba Hubbard, or even Bryce. I think the most important thing we can do in this game, if we see it, play action pass has to be in our bag. That was something we did not utilize enough in that game against the Saints, guys. Canellis has got to get out of this idea that, hey, 90% of our throws are going to be non-play action. Look, misdirection is the best friend of an offense that wants to throw the football, especially one that wants to run it. Because the defense can't just run at everything they see. And when you get a defense that's pausing, that means the run lanes are going to open. You're going to get Cade Mays an opportunity to get out there and block. You're going to get guys like Tommy Tremble who want to get around and get in, fill in them holes so that your running backs can get those gaps to run through. Most importantly, we are most definitely going to have to be able to take the ball away from the Buccaneers. Make Baker Mayfield make mistakes. He's a short quarterback too. So we're going to have to get hands on balls. If we can get some hands on balls, they can turn into turnovers and give us opportunities. The other thing is Baker's a gunslinger. He likes to force things. We're going to have to make sure that we don't get beat when he gets out of the pocket. That's the biggest thing. Nick Scorton, DJ Wanham, you're going to have to contain him. A'Shawn Robinson, Derek Brown, Turk Wharton, Bobby Brown. Listen, when this guy steps up, we're going to have to bring him to the ground. We can't let him step through because that's where he burns you. You get guys like Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Emeka Egbuka, whom are really good at coming back to the quarterback, making plays. We cannot allow that to happen. Now, on the offensive side, we definitely have to do that. We have to give Bryce opportunities. Bryce is going to have to make plays with his legs. Get guys open. Guys like Ted McMillan, Jalen Coker, Xavier Legette, Tommy Tremble, Mitchell Evans. They're going to have to make plays when Bryce gets out of the pocket. Look, I would prefer us not to have Bryce scrambling out of the pocket. I would rather him making plays with his arm when he gets out of there. Patrick Mahomes style. Because when you can make those plays like that, guess what? They turn into big plays. Lastly, our defense is going to have to stop Tampa Bay's run game. Look, we understand Baker Mayfield can beat us, but what we don't want is them running the clock out and giving us fewer opportunities. We need to handle the clock. If we can handle the clock, win the turnover battle, everything else will take care of itself. I know everybody's going to say that's easier said than done, but ultimately, if we can get this game and put ourselves in a position to win next week as well as the week after, I like our chances to finish this season with the NFC South title. Now, ultimately, we're going to have to win this week and then win next week. We cannot afford to lose next week, even though we win head out. We still got to win week 17, week 18 against the Buccaneers, despite the fact that the Buccaneers, even if they lost the week after to Miami, it still wouldn't do much. But if we can get this win, guys, and Bryce can have a good showing, maybe this could be a start to a run. But let me know what you guys think about our game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Do you think we win or do you think we lose? Who do you think is going to be the player of the game? Do you think Mr. CeeLo is dreaming when he thinks that the Carolina Panthers can make the playoffs? If you're a new-time subscriber here, put your name down below. If you're a first-time watcher, tell me where you're watching from and what your name is. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe and hit that thumbs up, as well as hit that bell notification so you can get all of my material once it drops. Make sure you go over to Facebook at Growlin' and Prowlin'. Make sure you join the group as well as join the Facebook page, and so you can catch up with all the updates and things that I'll be showing you up on, whether it's polls or just great pictures from games. Finally, go over to my Instagram at Mr. CeeLo so you can keep up with all my in-season shenanigans that I will be caught up in. But until the next time, don't forget to leave your mark while prowling the airwaves and growling out. Keep pounding.